How you doing? Thanks for clicking on this special video blog this evening. Um, I was listening to Radio 2 this morning, folks, and John Hammond, who is one of the meteorologists at the Met Office, and the question was asked regarding the flooding situation across the UK. Not only this year, folks, but really across the past few years, past few summers, we've really seen an increase in flash flooding, and of course the whole it always gets thrown in about the whole climate change or global warming idea, and of course John Hammond, like the Met Office would do anyway, would suggest that the flash flooding has been caused by climate change. Of course, climate change, you would imagine, would be more indicative of warmer weather and drier weather as opposed to flooding. And unfortunately, folks, I very much disagree with the whole aspect that this flash flooding is caused by global warming. The number one, it's a minute weather event, very highly localized. I mean, the UK is tiny compared to the rest of the world, and it just so happens to be that flash flooding is caused by global warming, just as much as Ireland. AccuWeather reported that Ireland's in the midst of the coldest summer in 25 years. We've seen a temperature the southwest of Dublin of 4 Celsius, which is 40 Fahrenheit, which is actually the coldest July low since 1984. So that's probably global warming. So is the past few winters, which have been brutally cold across the UK. That's probably global warming as well, right? In order to receive flooding, folks, you must have cooler weather and colder air, as well as warmer. You can't receive flooding with just solely warmer weather or a warmer air mass, so to speak. And I'm going to explain to you actually the reason why I think the flash flooding is occurring. We've got a pretty substantial cold pocket of air to the northwest of Scotland and the northeast of the Atlantic. And what we're finding is it's actually an abnormally cold air mass. We're seeing in the mid to upper levels of the atmosphere across particularly the northern latitudes unusually cold air in the upper levels of the atmosphere. And with a trough, an area of low pressure dominating the upper levels of the atmosphere across the northwest of the UK, dominant, and a dominant high pressure system, very warm air mass across Spain. What the two is doing is it's cycling colder air over the warmer air. What's happening is we've got a northwest flow in the upper levels of the atmosphere. Abnormally cold, you've probably got temperatures in the -80 to -100 Celsius range in the 500 millibar level. And what that's doing is it's floating across the UK at a very high level in the atmosphere. We've also got very, very warm air across Spain. That is undercutting, that's riding underneath this abnormally cold air mass in the upper levels of the atmosphere. From Spain, you've noticed in the southeast of the UK, temperatures persistently in the 70s. Although it's not been widespread, although it's been relatively cool and damp across the UK, we've still got that warm, low-level feed of moisture and warmth. And what that's doing is the difference between the warmth at the surface and the cold in the upper levels of the atmosphere increases what you call the lapse rate, which is the temperature difference with height in the atmosphere. Those two air masses colliding is actually harnessing a very abnormally strong Atlantic jet stream across the UK. We're basically seeing the difference between the cold and the warm across the UK is intensifying areas of low pressure that are crossing from the Atlantic through the UK and into Europe. Where the energy is, it's enhancing the rainfall created by the low pressure system. The high lapse rate is forcing intense thunderstorms and downpours. In many parts of the UK, we've seen flooding across Inverness, Perth, Edinburgh, and of course down recently in Bournemouth and Dorset. And unfortunately, folks, it's definitely not, in my opinion, global warming that's causing this. It's actually quite the opposite. It's actually a cooling in the upper levels of the atmosphere. I've also noticed cooler summer nights as compared to even last year. Colder upper levels of the atmosphere, clear, calm skies at night. That's allowing that cooler air to infiltrate down to the surface, producing abnormally cool weather for summer nights. It'll be interesting to see whether the autumn nights in September and October are perhaps even some record lows are experienced. So I hope that helps, folks, as an explanation as to why we're seeing the flash flooding. It's that low to the northwest, and it's the warmth over Spain. Those two colliding, we've got an abnormally strong jet stream, and where the energy impulses are, that higher lapse rate creates the intense thunderstorms and the intense flooding downpours that we've seen across the UK. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.